Welcome to our maintenance app. First, let's start by signing up. Our app provides 3 different types of users to register as. First, let's start by registering as a landlord for demonstration purposes. As you can see here, the landlord has 3 different views: a pending work orders, approved work orders, and resolved work orders. In the top right corner, there is the chat room where they can message their handyman. For the profile page, you will see the user's name, username, points, and landlord key, which can be used to register new tenants and new handymen. Next, let's register as a temporary tenant. Using the key that the landlord provided, we can paste this into this field. As you can see in the tenant view, they also have 3 different views, which are the pending, approved, and resolved work orders. And instead of the message icon, they have a button to create a new work order. This will bring up a form where they can specify a title, location, description, and take a photo. Next, we have their profile page, which has the same elements. It includes their name, username, and points. Lastly, we'll sign up as a temporary handyman. Here, they have the same views, except that the second view is a to-do view. And on the top right corner, they also have a message icon where they can message their corresponding landlords. In order to register a landlord, you would go to the profile and click Register Landlord. And using that same key, you would paste this into this field and click Register. This way, a handyman can work under multiple landlords. Next, I will log in into a pre-existing account that has data so we can see what this app looks like. As you can see here, these are posts that have not been resolved that the tenant has filed. When you click on them, it'll bring up a more detailed view, including the location description, who was submitted by, in this case it was us, and the landlord that we live under. So if you want to create a new work order, we would tap the Create New Work Order button. We can give this a title. For testing purposes, we'll call that Test 1. And you can add a location. This can be a public or private location. We can add a description. And then take a photo. Since I'm using an emulator, this is what the camera looks like. After that, we click Submit. And when we refresh, we can see that the new post was added to the pending work order list. Next, we'll log in back into the handyman profile. Now I can log in under the corresponding handyman through which the tenant filed the report. As you can see, I can see the tenant's work order that they just filed. But first, before I give a quote, I want to be able to chat with the corresponding landlord to agree on a date and on a price. I can call the name of the issue, which was Test 1, provide a completion date, which can be November 30th, 2021. And let's give an amount, which let's say $50. We can go ahead and press send. As you can see, the landlord approved the quote. Now I can go ahead and click on the work order, give a proper quote on what we agreed on, which was $50, and the date, which was November 30th, 2021. Now, I will log in as the landlord in order to fully approve the quote. Now the quote will be on the main page. As you can see here, we have the option of deleting a work order if we choose to do so. If we click here, we will see all the information, and at the bottom we will see the View Quotes button. As you can see here, we have multiple quotes. I will choose the quote from Jorge Cruz. If I swipe to the right, this will accept the quote. Now we can see that the work order is now on the approved page. This means that the handyman can now start working on the work orders. Now I can log back in as a handyman. As you can see here on the to-do page, this is the work order that was fully approved. Now, once I finish the work order as a handyman, I can go ahead and click the check button and this will resolve it. Now, if we refresh, we'll see that this is gone, and then now it'll appear in the resolved work order list. Now I can log in as Bob, which is our tenant. As you can see that on the resolved page, this is the work order that was resolved. Now that this is done, I can go ahead and click the work order and provide a review. This number will determine the handyman's review, and I'll give him 5 stars, and then it'll ask if my request was completed in a timely manner, and I'll say yes. Now, if we navigate to the tenant's profile, we can see that their points went up from 1 to 2 from when the landlord originally approved the quote. Next, if we log in to our landlord's profile, we can see the same thing. The work order was finally resolved, and that their points also went up from 1 to 2. Lastly, we log in to our handyman's account. We can also see that the work order was resolved and that their points went up from 0.8 to 1.8. Overall, a tenant gains points whenever a landlord approves a quote, and the handyman and the landlord gain points from when the tenant files a rating.